By the way, I spell rumors with a U after the O before the R. That's a nice little Easter egg. In fact, it's everything.
What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today what I have for you guys is a potential release date for DLC 4, or the Call of the Dead remake, which may end up being called Ultimatum, and could be coming out at the very beginning of the final operation here for Black Ops 4. So, with the beginning of the second half of Operation Apocalypse Z, we now know that the second half of Apocalypse Z will be ending in 47 days, which means the final operation for Black Ops 4 will be beginning on September the 24th, but for all we know, they could still drop the Call of the Dead remake before the final operation actually starts as a bit of a surprise, similar to how they handled Dead of the Night. So even though this Reddit post is a little bit off with the release date, I still wanted to go over his jarring evidence as to why September the 3rd is a very important date for a potential release date and a name for DLC 4 here for Black Ops 4. So we'll be going over the name Ultimatum later on in the video. First, we're going to break down the actual release date. So here's what he actually had to say. First off, if we take a look at past Call of Duty Zombies DLC releases, they are all in the same sort of time period, releasing at the end of August and beginning of September. DLC 4 prior release dates are as follows. September the 6th was Revelations, 56 days after Gorod Krovi. August 27th was Origins, releasing 56 days after Buried. We then have August 23rd, the release date of Moon, 56 days after the release of Shangri-La. Notice how every single game's DLC 4 released exactly 56 days after DLC 3. They also all released between the end of August and the start of September. I find that very hard to believe that that's a coincidence. Alpha Omega released on the 9th of July, and what is the date when we add 56 days onto that? We get September the 3rd.
Get back to hair and makeup. You don't look dead enough.
Come on, let's go.
And ironically enough, the 3rd of September is also the day that Element 115 first entered the universe and landed on Earth. It makes sense given Modern Warfare's beta starts on the 12th through the 23rd, so there's no way they'd release it during that, and there's no way it would be after the beta since that's getting pretty close to the Modern Warfare release date, and that wouldn't match up with prior DLC releases. Would be a huge difference to what they've been doing. So having the final DLC map release on the 3rd of September sticks to the general schedule that Treyarch have followed for every game prior. That also means it will come out on the 10th of September for Xbox and PC, still allowing DLC 4 to get some attention while waiting for Modern Warfare's private beta to begin on the 12th through 13th, exclusively on PS4, and then the open beta after that. 100% confident in saying that it'll come out on September the 3rd, 10th of September for Xbox and PC, and I'm certain I'm correct in saying that. If it doesn't come out, I'll live stream Transit for 24 hours. Someone hold me to that, please. He has an edit. After some more investigation, I believe we will see the first teaser leading up to this shown on Thursday or the following Tuesday or Thursday. Okay, so looking at that release date there, it makes perfect sense to follow the general schedule that they've kept for all previous Treyarch Call of Duty titles, where they release DLC 4 literally 56 days after the release of the DLC map. So they have to kind of play with the schedule pretty perfectly to ensure it doesn't bleed into the core marketing of the next Call of Duty, the private beta, etc. So this release date makes the most sense. Hopefully it's a polished map. I'm assuming it is, as I've heard rumors in the past from reliable leakers that DLC 4 and 5 have been done for quite a few months. So I really don't expect the map to release buggy or underwhelming. I think the map truly is done. I think they've just been polishing it lately with some extra quotes, storyline threads, wrapping up loose ends. That's probably all they've been working on when it comes to DLC 4. But the general map and Easter egg and characters and the basis of the map is already complete. So I think a release date on the 3rd does sound realistic considering considering those leaks from reliable people in the community. So again, the release date makes perfect sense. I wouldn't want this to release during or after the beta for Modern Warfare. It just isn't a good time. So I think releasing on the 3rd of September with the beginning of the next operation does make the most sense. But again, as other people have pointed out, it's also a possibility, like with Ancient Evil's release date back in, I think it was March, or I think it was end of March, right? With that release date, that happened during, or I believe towards the end of that operation. So people were speculating that towards the middle or end of the final operation for Black Ops 4 is when we would see the release date of DLC 4. But again, that's way too far away and is really close to the release of Modern Warfare. So that's why that doesn't make sense, and that's why it's more logical and reasonable overall to release the Call of the Dead remake with the beginning of the final operation for Black Ops 4. So I'll be keeping you guys up to date if this information changes, if we get new information on when this DLC could release. Treyarch, for all we know, could come out and make an official statement as to when the final map is coming out. But in terms of the name Ultimatum, this is when things get spicy, because a friend of mine named Skype, I'll have him linked down below in the description, actually brought this theory to my attention a couple of weeks ago. We were in a 6-hour PlayStation party chat. We were just talking all about zombies, theories, a storyline, DLC 4, and he brought this theory to my attention that coincides with an exact quote from Dr. Monty. And somehow this person who made this Reddit thread literally wrote word for word exactly what Skype was telling me just a couple of weeks ago. So either he saw Skype's tweet about this theory and stole it for the sake of this Reddit thread, or somehow great minds think alike, as he's claiming on Reddit, and he somehow thought of exactly what Skype was thinking verbatim and posted it here on Reddit. It could be a big misunderstanding. I'm not trying to accuse anybody of stealing or, robbing somebody's theory, but you never know. This could just be a big misunderstanding, a big coincidence, or yes, he may have stolen Skype's tweet and this theory and placed it here on Reddit. So I'll go through his evidence as to why Ultimatum makes the most sense for the name of DLC 4, also the supposed ending of the Aether storyline that we all know and love from Treyarch Zombies. So here's what he had to say. Ultimatum, the definition of that is a final demand or statement of terms, the rejection of which will result in retaliation or a breakdown in relations. You get a bit of an Ultimus reference with the name, and the definition for Ultimatum makes sense with what will be happening with the final map. It also has a similar feel to Origins and Revelations in the type of word that it is. Monty also has a quote on Revelations, which could actually prove Ultimatum makes sense as a name. He says,
I know the Shadow Man's probably talking to you. Don't trust him. He's evil. I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. I bet he's saying all sorts of terrible things, spreading all kinds of rumors about me. By the way, I spell rumors with a U, after the O before the R. That's a nice little Easter egg. In fact, it's everything.
So, as this person then wrote on Reddit, after the O could mean Origins, but before the R, which could mean Revelations, with a U, Ultimatum / Ultimus. So that actually makes sense that Ultimatum, or DLC 4 in Black Ops 4, takes place after Origins, the map from Black Ops 2, but before Revelations, since obviously now, as we've broken the cycle, Gorod Krovi and Revelations never happened. So yes, Ultimatum, or whatever the name of DLC 4 is going to be, does technically take place in between Origins and Revelations, since we obviously broke the cycle, preventing Revelations from ever happening the same way it did in the regular cycle back from Black Ops 3. So the name makes sense. This person also then said, but that part in particular is probably just a big coincidence, and I don't think Treyarch planned that far in advance. Edit actually could just be Ultimus as well. The last two lines of the quote seem to signify the importance of the U being in rumors. That's a nice little Easter egg. In fact, it's everything. As we know, Ultimus are very important in the storyline. The test subjects at Call of the Dead are also technically the Ultimus crew, so that's another thing to think about. But now, when I first heard this theory from my buddy Sky, I was also thinking something similar to him, that if this doesn't mean Ultimatum or the name of the DLC 4 map, it could also be a reference to the fact that people in the UK or other areas of Europe do spell the word rumor differently than people in the US and other countries. So it could be a fun little Easter egg, considering Malcolm McDowell, I believe, is British or some other nationality nationality from Europe of some sort, so that's why he would spell that word differently for people in the US. And obviously, a lot of people in the US play Call of Duty Zombies, while the Treyarch Studios is also in LA. So again, it'd be funny just to see a nice little Easter egg that the actor who plays Dr. Monty does spell words differently, which is why they kind of threw that in there as a nice, funny Easter egg in Revelation. So it could mean many different things, but again, the evidence supporting that theory does make a lot of sense. But let me know what you think of the name down below in the comment section. Does Ultimatum sound like a great name for the finale of the Aether storyline? I personally think it does, and obviously if the map is a Call of the Dead remake, as we all know already, the name Ultimatum does sound quite striking along with the map's aesthetic. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Check all links down below in the description. Once again, it could be a huge misunderstanding with how Sky and this person on Reddit came up with the exact same name for DLC 4 based on that quote from Revelations, or the person on Reddit could have easily stole Sky's tweet that came out many weeks ago, way before this Reddit post was even written. But be on the lookout for more coverage with the second half of Operation Apocalypse Z. That is about it, and peace out, everyone.